just got a quote on having. Oh well, I just got the guy the Tyler coming out to give me a quote. He's going to email me the actual figure. A guy named Byrne, who was recommended by Beaumont Tiles down here in Cairns, up here in Cairns. Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy. Funny thing is, he's got his eyesight's as bad as mine, which is a bit of a worry. But he seemed to be an okay guy, so we'll see what he comes up with. And at least he fronted up, which is good. So I've had put two requests in for quotes, and they're both showed and given me a quote. So that's good. Or give me a quote in this case of Byrne. So that's good. There's an absolute crap load of rain last night. We had a lot of rain up here in Cairns. It happens mainly at night, but the weekend there's sort of showers during the day as well. So I didn't even go out. So this is my first walk out of the flat since the weekend. Quite a homebody. So it's good to stretch the legs. I won't take the shortcut because it gets waterlogged. There's a dip in the footpath and it'll be covered with water, so I'll avoid that. Gee, I guess I got pre-polling today. So I might... There's a whole lot, actually, they must be doing it here. Obviously they're doing pre-polling here. Well, it's definitely pre-polling, and they've got cameras out there and everything, so it's all happening. Guys, the printers are doing well. There's plenty of posters. Not going to sway me in the slightest about you, but yeah, but how convenient is that? It's about a 30-second walk to the pre-polling booth around the corner where I live. So I've got no excuse really not to vote. Plus they're not going to pay the fine. So there you go. Gee, I didn't expect that. I thought I'd have to go to the city. But that's super convenient. And boy, it's the activity there. I was surprised so many people around. I guess it's a pretty big deal, this election, because no one knows what's going to happen. Three-cornered contest. It's going to be very hard to pick. And wouldn't want to be Tim Nichols. Turnbull's approval rating is at rock bottom today. It's actually reached, even for him it's low. It's actually his preferred Prime Minister's virtually line ball with Bill Shorten, which is extraordinary, because he's Bill Shorten's about as popular as an STD, so if you're on that sort of level of support, it doesn't say much for you, does it? And so yeah, it's going to be pretty hotly contested. I wouldn't be Tim Nichols, the leader of the Liberals here. I think he's a bit of a lost cause, and he might find that One Nation might surpass them in votes. That's a big prediction, but anything's possible in politics, especially when there's a lot of anger in the electorate, and I think there is at the moment. So anything is possible. So we're just walking past the Channel 7 studios here. They might have been from there. I mean, they're just a stone's throw from the local studio, so it's not hard for them to get footage. I think they generally get the vision here, and then they'll do the voiceover in the Gold Coast. I'll just send it down south to be processed and then done as one of the half dozen or so different regional bulletins they do from the station down in the Gold Coast for Channel 7. I actually just literally walked around the corner to where the polling booth is located for pre-polling in the Queensland election, and did my voting without taking any how to vote cards, which I always ignore, and just yeah, someone just one of the guys, the people working for the party handing out stuff commented I'm a man on a mission because I just walked straight past them. I always do. I don't want to take their crap. You get enough of it in the letterbox anyway. I came home, I got two how to vote type advertising leaflets, and one particularly A bit of dirty politics too, which I'll point out in a second. As I was walking up to the polling booth, a local came and started talking to me. Some elderly woman from, I don't know, somewhere like maybe India or Sri Lanka or somewhere like that. I'm only guessing, I'm not sure. Very, very dark skin anyway, but I couldn't understand her actually. She was mumbling something. It was sort of got a few words here and there, but something about she had to, usually she voted at the showgrounds. It's the only coherent thing I got out of her, which is really good to hear when you consider that they've got a full vote in the election. It instills a lot of confidence. This is a pre-polling thing. Now, I wasn't sure whether I had to actually justify why I'm doing a pre-poll. There's actually really no reason. I just basically don't want to have to do it on the polling day. I have no intention of changing my vote, but anything can happen in politics in a couple of weeks. But quite a few people are taking up the opportunity, and absolutely no one asked me why I was voting early, so they don't seem to care. It's a very Queensland laid-back attitude to it, which is fine. And of course, I had to mark off all the boxes, but there's only 5 candidates, so I need to mark 1 to 5. I just think it's ridiculous that they've scrapped the optional preferential system, which I think is a great system, because anything that gives the electorate a number of choices, the most number of choices, has got to be a good thing. I mean, empower the electorate to do what they want to do. If they don't want to have to preference the whole number of candidates sitting in a seat, why should they? Why should they have to put a number next to someone? But I had to do the full, I had to go right down the line from 1 to 5 to make it a valid vote. I think it's a ridiculous system, but that's it was political expediency by the Labor Party. Apparently, it could well backfire on them, given the way now it's a 3-cornered contest. Well, I've got no sympathy for them in that case anyway, because I mean, if they're going to try to manipulate the system and it comes back to bite them, well, so be it. I've got no idea who's going to win this election, by the way. It's a really tough one to call. They say Palaszczuk's not running a great campaign, but Tim Nicholls is the invisible man, although, believe it or not, I received an email today from Tim and Deb. I was thinking, well, it sounded like an old show from the ABC, a sitcom or something, but it was actually Tim Nicholls and presumably his missus, Debbie, sending out supposedly a personal plea to me to vote for them. Pretty desperate stuff, and I don't know how they got my email address either. That's another question. So anyway, I got they when I did vote too, they had the wrong address. They still had my rental address in Martin Street. I'm not surprised in a way, because it's only been a few months since I've lived here, and the Electoral Commission aren't exactly fast on the uptake when it comes to changing details. By the time there's another election, presumably that'll be the case. The good news is there's no upper house here, so it's just one ballot paper and that's it. So it's all done. I couldn't work out which ballot box to put in, getting a blind bastard. There's a really small slit and there's a whole lot of different ballot boxes when you walk out, but they've got an attendant there to tell you what to do, and it's all good. The other observation I'd make is that there's some woman there, because I had to do my shopping yesterday and confronted all these people, which is a pain in the ass, because they're always trying to get you to vote in if you have voted, or if you're having no intention of voting. If you're obviously shopping, I don't care, they'll just still try to get you. But one woman there was actually saying, don't vote Liberals, or put them last. And I'm thinking, is that allowed? Are you allowed to be basically lobbying voters in the vicinity of the ballot box? I don't think so. I think that's highly illegal. And the other time I came across something like that, it was more subtle intimidation, but it was GetUp, who were in the Melbourne CBD when I voted at the post office. They were out in force, and it reminded me of the same sort of thing that the Hitler Youth would have done in the elections in pre-World War II Germany. Just intimidation. I mean, there was no violence, or there's nothing was said, but just being there, it's intimidating having a group that where they're coming from and just standing around there. But today, like I said, having someone actually saying something like, don't put the Liberals at the bottom of the ballot paper, I don't think they have to work too hard about it, because Tim Nicholls is the invisible man. I think he's got Buckley's chance of getting anywhere in this election. And it's also quite a dirty campaign, as you'll see with this particular poster. This is some literature here. Sorry, I'll just see this literature here. Now that's shows you the level that they're going to in this election. I always think that's not a smart move to have a go at your opposition. I don't think is necessarily the best way to carry out your campaign. But that's a little leaflet that came in my letterbox today. And so they're out to get Tim Nicholls, who's not a popular boy because he's associated with as being the treasurer under Campbell Newman's government, which was initially very popular and went on the nose very quickly. Alan Jones from 2GB did a total hatchet job on them with his radio show from Sydney, which is also broadcast into Brisbane, and that wouldn't have done him any good either. So yeah, they've got a lot of worries there. So that's my Democratic day over, and as I say, I have to walk around the corner. It's pretty inclement weather, so it's nice and convenient, and it's all out of the way. So good, I've got that crap out of the way, and now it'll be interesting to see how it all ends up, because I have absolutely no idea where this election's going to end up as. My prediction is that One Nation will do better than probably what people think, and that Tim Nicholls will do worse. And apart from that, I don't know. Palaszczuk might get back in. I just don't know.